All right, today we're cracking open a true pop culture mystery. How in the world did the show Wednesday become a global phenomenon, like practically overnight? I mean, it wasn't just a hit, it was everywhere. So, what was the secret formula? Let's follow the clues and find out. Okay, let's start with a number. Just look at this. 252.1 million. That is the insane, record-breaking number of hours people spent watching the first season. To put that in perspective, it became the most watched English language series in Netflix history. This wasn't just popular, this was an absolute sensation. But the real story here isn't just in the numbers, not even close. The show's impact created ripples that went way beyond the screen. All of a sudden, a Lady Gaga song from over a decade ago was topping the charts, this super quirky dance was all over social media, and gothic fashion was back in a huge way. Wednesday didn't just grab our attention, it totally captured the culture. Which brings us right back to the central question. I mean, in a world just flooded with content, what made this show connect so deeply? What was the secret sauce? Well, we've dug through all the evidence and we've pinpointed 3 key clues that when you put them together, really unlock the whole mystery. Our first clue? Well, it's right at the heart of the show itself, the character of Wednesday Addams. You see, this wasn't just some reboot. It was a complete reimagining that was perfectly tuned for a modern audience. So what was it about this version that made her such an icon? At its core, she really became this powerful symbol for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider. You know? The way she just completely owns her own weirdness, how she rejects social norms. It just resonated so deeply with a generation that puts authenticity way above conformity. In a world that's always telling you to fit in, Wednesday's power comes from proudly being herself. And just think about how that totally flips the script on the typical teen hero, right? Most of those stories are about a quest for social acceptance or finding true love. But for Wednesday, her power comes from the complete opposite. Her individuality isn't some flaw she needs to overcome, it's her greatest strength. Okay, so that leads us to our second clue. That unique, tangible, and perfectly spooky artistic vision from director Tim Burton. His commitment to practical, hands-on artistry over just a bunch of digital shortcuts gave the show this texture, this soul, that you can literally feel through the screen. And there is no better example of this than the character of Thing. Just think about it for a second. In our age of nonstop CGI, how would you guess they created this disembodied, walking, thinking hand? I mean, most of us would immediately think it was all done on a computer. But the answer is so much cooler and wonderfully human. The secret wasn't pixels. It was an actual live performance. And that dedication to tangible, old-school filmmaking is a huge part of the show's magic. The philosophy here was all about practical magic. Get this, they hired a real Romanian magician, Victor Dorobantu, to perform as Thing live on the set, hiding his entire body in a blue suit. Burton knew that a real human performance would give Thing a personality and an emotion that pure CGI could never, ever replicate. And it's a beautiful little nod to how they did it back in the original 1960s show. And this hands-on approach wasn't just for Thing. Even the terrifying Hyde monster, which Tim Burton actually designed himself, was played by a physical actor right there on set. It just grounds all the supernatural stuff in this believable reality that makes everything feel more intense and, honestly, a lot more frightening. All right, let's move on to our third and final clue, and this one might just be the most important. It's all about how a completely unplanned, authentic moment on screen lit a global firestorm that was powered entirely by the audience. We're talking, of course, about the dance. What makes this scene so fascinating is the story behind it. The actress, Jenna Ortega, choreographed it all by herself and later said she felt incredibly insecure about it because she's not a trained dancer. But that vulnerability, that raw creativity, is exactly what made it feel so real and so compelling. And then the audience just took over. It started when one fan on TikTok set the dance to a Lady Gaga song from 2011. From there, the trend just exploded. All of a sudden, a decade-old song was rocketing up the charts all over the world. It got so big that Lady Gaga herself performed the dance, bringing the whole viral circle to a close. Now, this is the key. The audience didn't just watch the show, they remixed it, they amplified it, and they totally made it their own. So when we put all these clues together, what does it all mean? We have this compelling anti-hero, we have a unique artistic vision, and we have a massive fan movement. What is the real formula here? The secret to Wednesday's success isn't just one of these things. It's the powerful, almost magical alchemy that happens when all three of these elements work together in perfect sync. You need a character that resonates, an artistic world that feels real, and, maybe most importantly, you need to leave space for the audience to become part of the story. And that is the ultimate takeaway here. The creators, they crafted this beautiful, strange piece of art. But it was the audience, with all their creativity and passion and participation, that turned it from just a hit show into a true global movement. Success in entertainment today is no longer a one-way street. It's a conversation. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought. In an age where an audience can resurrect a song, create a global dance trend, and shape the entire cultural narrative around a show, are fans becoming the new storytellers? Something to think about.